Ro Rockwell Podcast episode. It doesn't matter what number it is. We'll get the numbers right later. We just be doing too many, bro. And this episode is very special. The reason why this intro is a little bit different is because we had technical difficulties when we were filming this. And if you're upset about that, I suggest you DM at Danger Zone. That's at DANEJAHZONE on Instagram. Just let him know how upset you are that he messed up. You know, he should have recorded this from the beginning, but he didn't. So this is a special intro. Beautiful, talented Lesly Damai. She's a radical yogi instructor. She's a world traveler. She's an actress. She's an entertainer. She's a spiritual healing being. Just even speaking to her, great energy. Without further ado, Lesly Damai episode, Ro Rockwell Podcast. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna smoke this and watch with y'all. Again, if you guys got good news, DM Ro Rockwell. All the bad news at Danger Zone on Instagram. Enjoy.
What I do, and it takes a lot of practice. It's also being really tender with yourself. Like, you can't be hard on yourself. Like, we're gonna make so many mistakes, always, you know, and that's okay. That's what we need to do to eliminate those habits later on down the line. That's just part of the process, like they always say. So I think that the kinder you are to yourself in your thoughts, especially, and even how you speak about yourself, the more you're setting yourself up for success and less of those like dark waves, I think. So yeah, it's something that's never going to end. It's life, you know, that will end, but this journey while we're here, it's just this continuous motion of different emotions, different feelings coming in all the time. And it's just about recognizing them and try not to numb yourself out all the time. Like, let yourself feel it. It's a 24/7 thing. Like, my thoughts are a continuous prayer of like hope and of like, please, like, love and just surrender. Like, it's nonstop in my head right now because it's a scary time, you know, and I've suffered from crazy anxiety, and it's time to really just like have our weapon of choice in our hands, stand up tall, stand up for that, like that light force, you know, and choose that team, and you'll be fully protected. But you have to make the choice. You can't just be stuck in the middle wondering when is this going to end and just watching Netflix all day and just like, sure, that's great. But to be honest, throughout this entire quarantine, I haven't watched anything like that. Like, I've been so productive trying to stay light and trying to keep my vibes up that it's completely what I focus myself on right now. And this wouldn't have happened without what's going on.
Why do you say that, though? Why do you say, like, what was the difference between being forced to stay inside and you being able to go outside? Like, what made you focus? Like, why do you say this? Like, you know, like, how did it impact you to like make sure you focus on your mental? Because some people are choosing the opposite, like you said, watching Netflix all day and just doing whatever they can to numb themselves and distract themselves. Like what in this situation, rather than previously, like made it more of a focus for you?
Because I'm on survival mode right now, and I've been on survival mode since I moved back to Cali. You know, I had to get a new car, I had to get an apartment, I had to do this all during this time of the quarantine, right? So I'm flight or fight. Like, I've got all these chemicals being released right now, and it just, I gotta keep busy. I gotta keep doing this. I gotta keep taking advantage of this time because like consciousness is like super crazy right now. Like, I can just feel it, and I'm not this like, I'm a regular girl, but you know, I'm not this world-renowned anything by any means. But I feel like there's little miracles everywhere, and like, sure, this shit sucks so bad, and there's so much behind the surface, like behind the scenes, that's being orchestrated right now. And yeah, I like to kind of dig in there too, and I have an opinion about what's going on. But at the end of the day, it's too crazy to look outside. We got to look inside.
Right. I don't know if this is like how you guys feel throughout this like pandemic. I totally relate to everything that you're just saying right now, because I feel like my battle, what I'm going through the last 4 weeks since this pandemic started, is like really like I get what you're saying. Like, your last 6 months, dude, I lost all faith in myself the last 6 months. I've never not believed in myself as much as I have not in the last 6 months, right? And so now everything's just like a battle of believing that again. Like, it's constant struggle of like reminding myself. And even today, I had this conversation with myself. You know, sometimes our mind gets so negative about, you're such a failure. This is exactly why. And I just remember sitting there and I was just like, okay, if that's true, like I can't do anything about it if you're making me feel this way. Like if we're talking to ourselves that way, like there's no way. Is that going through?
I've gone through that for so many years. And something I used to always tell my students, and you know, you'll read this with Buddhism and meditation, you know, looking at your thoughts and how you react, like it's very important to notice how you react about things. What happens to your face? What happens to your body? What happens to the tone of your voice? And accepting whatever it was, right? But looking at it in a loving manner, the same way a grandmother or a mother would look at their child playing on the playground and they didn't listen, they fall over, and it's like, come here, sweetie. You know, it's the same exact thing. You have to do that to yourself. You have to love yourself completely, all your flaws. Because you're just going to get stuck in that cycle. And even if you, and Dane, trust me, I know you know this, fake it till you make it, okay? Right. Even if it's that whole fake it till you make it for like 5 years, eventually you will get there.
100%.
If you're like, we're all so great to other people, and we think we're so open-minded, and we think that we appreciate other cultures, and we appreciate travel, and we appreciate religions, but are we really open-minded about ourselves, about our own thoughts, our own fears, our own insecurities? Have an open mind about who you are instead.
I love that.
100%. And like, you dropped a lot of gems, and I appreciate it because we're starting early with the gems for you. Audience out here. We got the gems right off the bat, off the rip. We got the gems. So I want to go to your journey. Okay, you started off like, where are you from? Like, what state are you from? Are you from? You're from
I'm a Cali girl. Yeah, Orange County.
Yeah, I'm a Cali boy. He's a Cali boy too. Yeah. Southern California.
Yeah, totally. Just
Miss
right
California. She's Miss California.
Oh, you're from
Miss California. Dane and I saw Miss California.
That's what's up.
That's in my first beauty pageant live, Miss California.
Oh, no wonder. That's how you guys know each other.
You know how much I still value that, and to me.
Dane loves beauty pageants, and I wish I love him as just as much as he did, but he loves.
Well, my views have changed on that, but I just love feminine energy, you know.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool.
Like, expression of it.
So wait, so is that the origin of this? Okay, because I was gonna get into the acting, but did you start off doing beauty pageants? Like, is that how you started?
No. That was actually my ex. He was a PR for the Miss California, so we were able to go.
Okay.
No beauty pageant.
We'll get back into the exes and stuff.
Doesn't need a crown.
I know, right?
Okay, so how did you get yourself into acting? Was it something you did like in high school? And like, because I want to just show our audience like how you can transition into things that suit you, because sometimes we have a certain belief at a certain age, but our energy, we're aligned, our destiny is like aligned for something else, or both, you know? So like, how did you first get into acting, and like, how did that happen? What like, were you in high school?
Yeah, so I did like a theater class in like a semester in junior high and all of that, but I've always just been very like expressive 24/7. It's just who I am. It's just in my blood, making music videos, making shows since I was like this tall. You know, I want to be a model, actor, singer, you know. I'm from California too, so it's like you think anything's possible. But
it's possible, you know that too.
Anything's possible. But I think it started like in college with the theater there, and then moving to LA, and it was mostly like, I love theater because to me it's so authentic, and it's so how you really build your craft, and that really, like, I love just how genuine that is. But yeah, I'm actually back, and I have all my intentions to go back into that world when it's available again.
And that's a great thing, because don't you think your yogi journey is going to help you with that? And please explain to our audience how you transitioned to your yogi journey and how it could help you. Like, you know, I think yoga is such an important thing, and we're going to get into the technicalities and all the physics. I'm using different words right now. They don't make sense. All the, you know, things that go into yoga and how it affects your spirituality and your vibration and your happiness. But could you explain to us how you transitioned into yoga from acting?
Yeah, I got sick of living in Hollywood pretty much, and I started traveling. I got really fortunate. I met a teacher in India, and I did a short training.
Shout out to India. Sorry, I have to.
Dharamsala, Goa.
There we go. There we go.
So I was out there. Where are you? What nationality are you?
I'm full Indian. Everybody thinks I'm mixed.
Yeah,
I have amazing followers that are in India. I love them so much. It's like the closest connection I have out of like just people on social media. It's like my Indian followers are the best.
Hell yeah, Indian people.
Like,
Indian people in general, it's a fact. Like it's a statistical fact that Indian people are the best people. I'm joking, but like, yeah, we got our for us, bro. Shout out to India. We got 1 billion people over there. Anyways,
I'm going back, and I'm going back. I was telling like she's calling to me again. Like I didn't think she would call to me for another 5 years, and now I got to go back. So that's actually it's crazy. So I went out there and I did my second training, and the day after I graduated, like with my full certificate, I started teaching at a resort. Like it just happened like that. Boom.
Wow.
It's like, okay, when do you get your certificate? Tomorrow. Okay, start teaching. And ever since then, I didn't stop.
How long did it take you to get this? Like,
but after that,
is it a multiple year journey? Because people think it might be easy, but how long did it take you to get that certificate?
So there's like 200 hours, 500 hours. They now have a lot of like, they have a lot of shorter courses you can do as well. Okay. Honestly, it's just about how you hold space.
Gotcha.
And that goes great with being an actress as well, because you are putting on a presentation. You are creating a scene, a vibe. You are reaching out to people emotionally. So that was easy for me to have that part kind of nailed right off the bat because of acting. That's
what's up. So, okay. So you transitioned to becoming a yogi, and like you said right now, you could still, how do you think the tool, because this is the one I want to tell the people, like the physical nature of yoga, like the breathing. People say they pray. Praying is one thing, right? It's one tool, which I truly believe in. But meditation is one tool as well. But yoga, I think, is the embodiment of both those tools in one. But that's just from an outside perspective looking in. Like the physical nature of breathing in and praying at the same time and all those things. Like, how do you think that can like affect people and make them make better decisions in their life?
Totally. So it's physiological too, my yoga teacher, he always says, it's not a workout, it's a work in. And that's what I'm all about right now, especially now. It's the combination, right? So it's first and foremost the awareness that you create while you're doing yoga. It's not, let's put our headphones on and start sweating, right? So it's creating intention, number one, and then being very highly attuned to what's going on to your body physically. Like it's just all about me when you're doing yoga. It's not anything else. So physically, what am I experiencing? Oh, guess what? My left hamstring's more tight today.
Right.
Oh, I can't do this balancing pose that well today. And then it's the breathing. So the breath like initiates the movement in most types of yoga. So it's that connection of breath and body. That's always going to get you to like a different state of mind. So those two go hand in hand, but it's honestly like for me right now, I've stepped away from kind of all of that because I shifted, right? Like I told you, like I was spiritually dead for a while. And for me now, it's like you said, it is a prayer. To me, it's like, boom, like I'm surrendering and praying. I don't want to be perfect anymore. Like I just want to move my body the way it wants to move. And I just want to feed my soul the way it wants to be fed. And I'm praying while I'm doing it. And I'm focusing on Lesly. And even if it's just 10 minutes, like you're going to notice a difference. And so I just want people to know that you don't have to be flexible. You don't have to be experienced. You don't have to know the names in Sanskrit. You just have to be aware of your body. That's it. I promise. Like, I know there's all these poses online and it's really intimidating. Like my first class, I didn't know if I had to wear shoes, right? So you're going to, have those moments, but just know that you are completely capable of doing yoga, even if you could touch your toes or not. That's not what it's about.
Can I ask you this question?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a yoga class, right? And this guy next to me was not doing what the in class was doing. He was like showing off getting on handstands while we were doing a downward dog. He was on a handstand. I was just like, what is the instructor thinking at this time? But he's also the kind of yogi that's like, whenever he teaches classes, like, don't follow me, just do what you feel like. I didn't realize that that's actually what he does when he's in another class. He just does whatever he feels like.
Totally. That happens. If you're in a beginner's class, that's not going to happen. But yeah, that definitely happens. It's all about what's going on in your mind. It's going to be different for everyone else. Someone's going to look at him and go, wow, what an inspiration. Someone's going to go, what a show off. You know,
Right.
So it's about witnessing what goes on in your mind during that moment, recognizing it, letting it go, focus inward, accept it, move on. And it's intimidating. But yeah, it depends on who you're talking to. Someone's going to look at it differently. But yeah, when that would happen to me, you know, I get a little like, okay, like, because I focus on beginners. That's like my passion, is introducing yoga to people that are so intimidated and so sweet about it and so vulnerable, and just letting them feel welcome. So yes, that does happen when you take like intermediate classes, and just notice what goes on in your mind. Like, notice your reaction to their handstand.
Yeah, I mean, you just make me feel.
You guys are being polite to that person, but at the end of the day, like, if you're signing up for your yoga class and you're doing that, you're not gaining what you're supposed to gain out of the yoga class, because you're doing your own thing. You're being stubborn. Honestly, this is my opinion. She can think another way. You can think another way, Dane. But I just feel like if you sign up for yoga class, learn yoga, like, learn from the teacher. Don't do your own thing on the side. It just, it's like, it could be. I'm telling you, it's real crazy. Like,
it's a little annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's gonna be nice to you, but don't be doing that. You have to go into it with an open mind. You have to learn how to feel uncomfortable, especially for males. Males may feel a lot of insecurity, like, oh, I look real weird right now doing it. But you have to go into it like that, because you're not going to get the benefit out of it if you don't go into it with the open mind and trusting your teacher. Is that right as well?
No,
like,
totally. I love that. Yeah,
how do
that's
you
what
make
it's all
people
about with
feel
anything though
comfortable?
too,
Like, how do
right?
you
You
make
know, it's like with anything. It's like, as soon as you think you can't learn something from someone, like ego check right there. As soon as you think you can't have like knowledge, like someone's words, like, oh yeah, I've heard that. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, what's going on with you? Like, why do you check out when you hear something, you know? So I've come across a lot of people like that too. And that's fine. But I feel like a lot of times that's ego driven. I feel like anybody can teach you anything.
Yeah. I think for the spiritual community as a whole on Instagram, you can see that battle between the ego and the authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone starts off completely with their authentic self, you know, but like you said, with that ring, you're always being tested throughout life. Are you going to fall off your path again? And then you see them feeding their ego instead of the spiritual things that got them there. Like anything, that's just human, right?
It's also a big hindrance into people getting involved in yoga. I brought my brother, shout out to my brother, but we curse on this show, sorry, but fuck you for this. And I love my brother. He's gonna understand this. But like, yo, I bought him a yoga pad for his birthday last year. He never used it. I was so upset with him. Not like, oh, I hate you for life, but it's like, bro, I'm trying to show you, like, dude, he was stressed out because he was transitioning between jobs. I was like, dude, this is gonna help you during this period because it's gonna alleviate your stress. And he's like, thank you so much. He was so grateful. And he don't know this. He's like, dude, you never use it, because a lot of people fear that's why people don't work out or do yoga, because they feel the fear of like looking awkward or feeling insecure in a public setting. Like how would you, if you're leading a beginner yoga class, and we're going to get back into other stuff, but I just want our listeners to know, like, it's okay to look awkward. Like, how would you coach them into like feeling okay with themselves in the beginning of a session?
Yeah, I always started my classes that way. I always started with like the same message. It's very much, okay, who's new to yoga? I raise my hand, and then everyone else is going to raise their hand. Because if I don't raise my hand, no one's going to want to raise it because they don't see the other person raising their hand. So it's very much a psychological thing as well. I feel like being a yoga teacher, you have to be able to read your class. And for like, you have to find the right person too. So like if your brother were to take my class, you know, he would have a different experience than if he took another class, right? It's just that whole going to change. So it's really just trying until you find what fits for you. But some classes aren't going to be as inviting as others. You're going to feel lost. But also another thing you can do too is like start at home.
That's true. There's YouTube videos that they can do, and it's like
go with a friend.
True.
Like on Zoom.
Yeah, go with someone you know, because it's so intimidating to walk into a yoga studio, no matter how like many incense are burning or how the lighting's just perfect with candles. It's like, it's pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that.
So we got like 5 minutes to our break, and we're going to do a little intermission, and we're going to do our ads. But I want to ask you this. So which one do you specialize in when you're teaching? Is it like more of a hot yoga? Is it more of a, I know there's Kundalini. I tried every single yoga. I love yoga. And
cool.
Every time I'm in the class, though, they think I know everything about yoga because I got long hair. But I'm not.
You're like, our guru has arrived.
Yeah, exactly.
You should just do it.
No, but I don't know.
Go with it. There's a movie called Kumar. It's about an American guy, Indian American, who completely did that. It was a documentary. He changed his accent. He learned yoga, and he calmed like a huge group of Americans into thinking that he was a guru. It was amazing.
Bro, I think we have a new career path.
Yeah. But
And at the end, he had to tell them, guys, I don't actually have an accent. I'm not a guru. And they were like, what? They were so pissed.
I gotta watch that one.
Like,
I'm a scam people. I'm just joking, but like, you know, yeah, don't put that in my brain. But continue. Like,
You're probably gonna do it now.
Do your best in the Mustang. Like, walk in right now. Let's see if you could like walk into a yoga class.
Who?
Do it.
Like you.
Me?
Yeah, like walk into a class. It's just the two of us.
You don't walk into
improv.
Doing namaste, right? You just do it. I sit in the back. First of all, this is my journey when I go into a yoga.
It's your journey.
Yeah, I go in, I take off my shoes, which is like, I do everything. I go into the back, and there's only 2 males in the whole class. And I think that's like a good thing. Like, oh, we love to see so many females, which is, it's cool, but it's like, dude, I'm going to look like a fool right now. So I stay in the back corner, and you know, I've been doing it for years, but I'm not consistent enough to have my regularity and like everything in my body to do it, like know what I'm doing. So I look like a fool most of the time, but the teacher always comes in, fixes my position, which is cool. It helps me, but also I feel embarrassed. Like, I'm like, oh man.
You're like sweating, huh?
Focusing on me. Am I doing it wrong? Like, I'm like, damn, but I still keep going because I always feel a certain way after the class. Right. So how do you help those kind of people? Like, how do you make them feel not like scared of participating in yoga for the first time, you know? Like just embracing it?
I have a very like nurturing motherly way about me when I teach. It just comes out. And I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just like, I have some videos up on YouTube where I'm teaching, and you'll see it there too. And I guess my biggest advantage of being a yoga teacher is that I'm able to let students feel comfortable, not afraid, especially my worst is not intimidated, and fully accepting where they're at. So I'll say, okay, I'll always offer variations. So like, say like we're in Baddha Konasana, and like we're sitting like this, like this, right? And so I will say, okay, now if your knees are up too high, we're just going to keep the spine long. But if I see that some students who put their knees down, then we'll come forward. But I always give them variations. That's all. You just give them different variations according to their body type. And, you know, slowly, little by little.
Which one do you specialize in? Kundalini, or like, you know, there's different like high yoga.
Right. So I trained in Ashtanga yoga.
I never heard that
with
one.
A focus in Iyengar alignment. Which is pretty intense. But when I taught, like out in Bali, when I was at Ubud Yoga House, I was teaching a combination of, it was Hatha mostly, Hatha yoga with some vinyasa. I taught gentle yoga as well. So just that kind of combo there. I taught Ashtanga sometimes, but it's just not as popular with, you know, tourists coming in. Like, they don't know the whole sequencing. So I would switch it up. But mostly Hatha, Vinyasa.
I got you.
What was the yoga you were talking about?
Hold on, Dane. Hold on.
Sorry.
Remember your question you're going to ask right now? Because we're going to go into an ad.
Action.
God damn it, Danger. We're back, Ro Rockwell Podcast. This is the second half of our interview with Lesly Damai. That's her yogi name. And Yeah, we have a lot more questions. We got a lot more to get into, a lot more subjects. Dane, you had something you wanted to ask her, right?
Yeah, let's. So Leslie and I, we met at Tom's class, right?
Yeah, that was so long. Tom or me. If you're in LA, you need an acting coach, please hit that man up. He is genius.
Yes. Would you agree with me that, like, when I think about the people in my life that have completely influenced me, like, Tom is one of them.
Yeah, that man. He's because I've taken other acting classes and had other coaches, but he's like, it's the passion and like just the genuine interest in listening to people's fucking shitty acting.
I know.
All evening long. Basically.
Yeah.
You gotta love that.
Dude, that guy was so patient. And I realized with Tom, it was like the first time that I've seen like a man in person, like, be okay with expressing his emotions.
Oh, very true. Yeah. Very, very true. Because he was pretty masculine in his own way, but I think that's like the beautiful part about acting and yoga is that you get that real deal, that that genuine emotion. Yeah,
right. Totally. And yoga, like, Tom was the one that introduced me to yoga, the first poses.
I remember he would do breath work and meditations in class. We would start class and we would do a guided meditation. He'd be like, okay, start with your feet, picture this color, and all of that. Totally.
He like, I didn't realize that not many coaches do that in their classes. Like, they get into this relaxation. So Tom like spoiled us with giving us that time, which I think as an actor you should probably be doing before you get to class. But
yeah, like if you're an actor, it's all about knowing who you are before you can also play someone else,
Yeah.
So that's a great thing about bridging the two, is getting into your own body and being like highly aware and then rocking out a scene. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you just said getting into your own body. Sorry to cut you off, Dane. I just have to because I think that's the whole art of acting. You have to get into your own body, and the process of doing that is through yoga and meditation. I really think it goes hand in hand. I don't think you can be a great actor without doing these kind of exercises. And we can also consider sports and exercise and running and shit like that as like getting into your own body. But I want to, so like how does that affect? Okay, do you feel you're centered after you do yoga, that you can actually, like you said, playing other characters, like when you breathe and if you're truly yourself, how does that transfer into being somebody else?
Oh, totally. So like if I have a scene and I have to be angry, my breath's gonna start changing real quick. I'm gonna start feeling my heart beating. I'm gonna start tensing up. I'm gonna start pacing. Like, it's the connection between the emotion and the body. They go hand in hand. But if you're not aware of what you're experiencing, which people are like, how can you not be aware? But we do it all the time. So to gain that awareness, you need practice, and that's where yoga comes in. You need to heighten that awareness, and meditation is a form of getting there. Like you said, if you're a runner, runners are like die-hard runners for life. For them, that's their meditative state, is getting their heart rate up, pounding the pavement and going on and going on. That's how they get there. So what's your form? Like, it doesn't have to be yoga. What's your form of expressing yourself? And like, that's what we have time to do now, is to figure that out. So why not explore? Even if you feel freaking silly, like, at least you're at your house and you got some privacy, and hey, I just have this room right now. Like, I don't have much right now, but I don't need much because I'm inside focusing.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's double back on the journey. Okay, so there must have been like a tipping point, or like my dog is bothering me right now. Sorry, but there must have been like a point in time, if you're willing to speak on it, where you just decided, okay, because everybody goes to this when they're pursuing an art form, like where you just realize the spiritual aspect is kind of more important because something might be bringing you kind of negative energy. What was the point in time where you decided to go with the yoga journey during that time? Like, what was that time? Yeah.
Well, it just and like, I don't want to be cliche again, but it just unraveled for me. I formed good relationships with studios in Bali. A really good friend. I kept in touch. And
okay, sorry, not to cut you off. So sorry. But when you traveled to Bali, were you already pursuing the yoga like being a yogi, or were you?
Yeah. I went. The first time I went to Bali, I went on a yoga retreat.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So I already had that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
let's go back. Can I ask a question with your mindset behind that? Because a lot of people say like, yeah, it just fell on my lap, right? And that does happen. It just falls in your lap. But people who are not a mindset, who believe that the mindset is required, they won't understand that. Like, someone would be like, oh, hey, Lesly got really lucky, you know. But like, tell us what your mindset was the entire time and why everything just fell in your lap.
I didn't let fear or resistance get in the way. I took it, and I didn't do it confidently either. It was just like, if you get an opportunity, no matter how small it is, you have to take it. You cannot keep saying, I'm not ready. I could have just said, oh my God, I just graduated yesterday. I'm not ready or qualified to be a teacher. Well, so you know what I did? I classes by donation. What feels right for you? That felt right for me. I didn't feel right taking people's money right off the bat. So I said, okay, I'll teach. Let's do it. You have to jump on the ball. Even if it's tiny, even if there's 2 students, you have to jump on the ball, and life will give you these opportunities. But you can't say, oh, it's not good enough. Oh, I'm not good enough. Or I'll wait next time, or I'll call them back later. You have to jump in. So it's taking that initiative. And if you don't have opportunities, you cultivate your craft even more. You'll be a better yoga teacher than I was when I taught my first class. You keep cultivating, and you make it work somehow. Videos, online, neighbors, anything. Start with family.
Hold on, I think your phone is like, we can hear you. Can we hear you?
Is this better?
Get better.
Sorry, I put it down.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. You say dropping some gems for us too, but we heard it.
I like this gem dropping. I get like a good visual.
You're a gem.
Yeah, you definitely are. But I want to ask you, like, okay, so the modern conception of or perception of yoga is like, okay, you got to be like, you can't do anything wrong. You got to be like super positive,
vegan,
party. You can't go drink. You can't go
smoke
weed. So how would you define radical yogi? Like in your
honey, the struggle is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was in fucking yoga, like the main artery of yoga, which is in Ubud, Bali. Okay, and you roll around there. You can't get soda in restaurants. You can't get real cheese in restaurants. I mean, I'm talking only vegan. I'm talking, you walk into a place and you're like, holy crap, where the hell? Like, everyone's so zenned out that if you talk loud, like if you're talking like how I'm talking right now, it's gonna be like, people are gonna turn around and look.
Yeah, so we would never survive there, the 2 of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we would get dirty looks left and right. So I understand that, and I understand trying to find your identity in what you love doing when you see it portrayed through so many generations and thousands of years of yogis doing it their way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I lost a part of myself being a yoga teacher and trying to gain that respect and trying to gain that figure. It's like you're a certain figure, you're like, oh, you're a teacher. Oh, oh, you teach here. Wow. Like really impressive. Your branding, it has to be consistent. So like that was kind of where I lost part of myself. Like, I'm like, dude, I lost my mojo. Like, where is it? My sister started calling me Grandma White Dane.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Dane, I was Grandma.
I was. This makes me so happy that you say all this.
I lost it. And then you travel, and you have to be super humble when you travel, and you have to be respectful of cultures. So you're not as easily, like, it's not as accessible to be your crazy American self or, whatever. Like, I'm from Orange County. Like, we're different. Like, after all traveling around the world and doing all of that in the yoga realm, I'm so happy to be back with you guys. Like, that's why I'm so excited to talk to you guys, because it's like, dude, like, I love it. Like, I love where I'm from, and I had to travel the world a few times to understand that. And I'm so glad that I've been back for like 2 months, and I'm like loving every second of it, because I appreciate it now. Like, I appreciate that freedom, that expressiveness. Other cultures cannot express themselves in the way we do.
Wow.
So it's, I'm going to like milk that now, and I'm going to tap into who I used to be and incorporate that into who I am now and make the most of it. Like, I'm not going to apologize anymore. Like, I'm done.
Girl.
Everyone thinks like, oh, I had the perfect life. They think that I was just always happy. Like, wow, like that, you were going through that? Like, I literally had best friends telling me that. And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm just because I'm sipping on coconuts and I'm living in a sick villa, like, does not mean that I'm living the life. Like, I'm just as confused as you are.
Right. That must have been hard, right? Because like, I'm sure everyone's like, oh, Leslie, I'm having a spiritual problem right now. What was that like? Like, I speak this because I also went on that journey. Like for the last 2 years, I put sobriety in the front of the forehead. Like sobriety journey. And then all of a sudden I was like, dude, that's not even the identity that I felt like was necessary adopting. But then all of a sudden, you're just being this version of this weird person. Like, it's like a caricature of like the worst caricature of yourself. That's how I described the last 6 months.
And when you're in that space, you start to want to be a people pleaser. Because you want people to like believe you, and although that is part of who you are, you're trying so hard to like keep that alive. So instead of I was too caught up on worrying about what people thought about me, how I can always make them feel comfortable, how I can always make them feel happy, how they'll never say anything bad about me, how I'll just always be like something good for them. And then it's like, you're not being authentic in your relationships when you do that. So now it's like, I have my moments all the time, and I'm so excited to vent about them with like my community on Instagram. Like, sure, I don't have the biggest Instagram following, but the people that I follow and the people that I communicate with, like, we like, no apologies. It is what it is. And that's like the best part about it. So, and that's why I love talking to like you guys, because you guys understand and you're not so like just focused on one point. It's kind of like how do we grasp it all and have fun? Like, I just want to have fun. Like, that's it. Like, that's my new that's my new motto. I just want to have fun. I want to laugh. I want to explore. I want to get messy. I don't want to always have to be something for someone. Like, I just want to do me.
Right.
Yeah, like life isn't black and white, as they say. Like, it's not like there's a Venn diagram, and the Venn diagram is the middle of that shit. You know, like, so I truly believe in that. My point is like, okay, so dealing with like, okay, you don't want to be a certain way. How do you think like it affects being your true authentic self, your confidence, being loving yourself? How do you think like yoga and things like this can affect that? I know we went over it before, but I really want to touch upon for the audience, like, how does it really affect how you feel about yourself? Like, like breathing and just being in the present moment and things like that. Like, how does it make you feel differently about yourself without taking medication, without taking drugs?
That's a good one. Because I used to, and I don't talk about this with people because I don't know. I guess I didn't notice it while I was living through it. But yeah, like, there was a time in my life where I was so stuck in my head and I was having like just repetitive, compulsive thoughts. And so I went to the doctor and they're like, here, take this. And it was like,
what they give you?
God, I wish I remember the name. I'm a nurse. You think I would know too? God, it was right before I moved to Bali. So it was like 5 years ago. And I ended up taking it for a year.
Girl, no, that's
and then it's like, wait, what's happening? This has been going on for a while. So I tried to, like, I got off it, but I started having physical symptoms. Like, I would get weird electrical surges in my body. And then I went to Kaiser, I went to the pharmacist, and I was like, I don't want to take this again. I'm experiencing these symptoms. And he said, oh, we'll just get another refill.
I'm sorry.
Swear to God.
That's how Dane's doctor was.
Well, let me do a PSA on
like nothing. Like, oh, well, just here, I'll refill it for you. And I'm like, no. That's not the point.
So, if you're watching this on a benzo right now,
I know exactly what. Yeah, Dane's doctor.
You have to you cannot stay on that for more than 3 weeks. I'm looking at you right now. If you are on
no. This was like a long-term thing. Like, it doesn't even kick in for 3 weeks or a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Xanax or anything. It was like it was like an antidepressant maybe. Oh, yeah, it was like an
Klonopin or something like that.
No, it wasn't a fun one. It was just
okay, I got you.
Do not drink and do benzo.
Got you. It wasn't a fun one.
I know. Have you guys seen Maniac on Netflix? Anyway, that's
No,
good.
Don't do that. Hey,
But I'm all about exploring again. Like now that
Leslie, how much time do you have? Just so we can time out our questions, because I want to ask you. All this is transparent to our audience. I just want to ask you, how much time do you have for tonight? You got like 30 more minutes?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. All right, yeah. So that we are
I'm
kind of.
just kidding.
No, what were you gonna ask, Danger?
No.
Danger.
You said Maniac. That's a show with Jonah Hill, right? I never watched it, but what?
Have you guys seen it, Leslie?
What's that? No, I honestly, I need to catch up on a lot of stuff. No.
Yeah, me too.
No, it's a show that came out like anyway. Let's not.
But what that relates to what we were talking about? Because I feel like that might have been interesting.
Well, in Maniac, they do that where the show is basically about like people who are they get 10 people to try out this new drug, and I'm gonna ask you guys this: would you take this? So pill A, it lets you relive the biggest trauma of your life. Like once you take it, you see the biggest trauma of your life. Pill B, you start seeing your shortcomings and why you're a bad person. Because when you take the pill, it takes you into this hallucination thing. And the third pill is basically how are you going to move forward with that. But these people are processing it in the show in 1 week. That entire.
Wait, real?
In the show, they're processing it like. So like if I'm on the show, like I just took pill A, all of us took pill A, went through the worst trauma of our life. Then we take another pill that shows us everything that is bad about our life. Then we take this third pill to show us how we can fix it.
That's God right there. That's the practice.
I mean, you don't need a pill for that, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you got a whole like case in the back that's gonna come out every 3 to 6 months. That's for real.
Okay, let me ask you this though. Moving off of that, I want to get back to the beginning, and you don't have to answer. You could say you could plead the fifth. Like we get, I just want to ask you because a lot of people are dealing with this. Some of us in this room are dealing with this during the quarantine of like breakups and like the heartbreak, and especially if you break up and go into a quarantine, it's kind of like double dosage. Like,
totally. Yep.
Yeah. Like, how could you explain to our audience, if you don't mind, and if you're willing to speak on it, like how to cope with something like that, and what are the tools that you develop through this process, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I think it's, it's really going to depend on who you are. For myself, it's been, like I said, it's survival. Oh my God. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. That was like my partner. He was my complete comfort. He was my, like, everything. So when you lose that, you're fucking all alone. And so something really amazing can happen from the rebels, or like you can like completely just turn into ash. So it's the work. And I hate when people say that I'm insane now, but it's the daily work. Like literally, like me and this journal right here, we go everywhere together. I don't leave the house without it. Anytime I have an idea of inspiration, it goes in here. Anytime I have negative, crazy ass shit going through my mind, it goes in here. You find ways to cope. How do you cope?
Wow.
Because some people are freaking bad.
Before the relationship or after the breakup?
After the breakup, like you cannot become, your life cannot grow without that rebel. Like you can't, the foundation needs to break down. We need to start all over.
Right.
If your relationship wasn't on a strong foundation, or if that foundation started cracking, that's what your life's going to be like. So you have to take those hits, those blows to really come out on top. Like you have to, and you have to recognize it. But most importantly, it's like, you're not alone. Like this is all being orchestrated. Like this is all happening for a reason, especially if it's during the quarantine. Like, can you imagine? Like God's like, dude, like you can take this, like you're going to take this. And oh my God, like it's going to turn into something way more amazing than if you would have been stuck in patterns, stuck in relationships that don't serve you. So right now with like this battle, like the darkness and the light, which is like how I see this whole thing right now, very much so. It's completely like this matrix reality being revealed to a lot of us. You got to stand there with your weapon of choice. Like, what is it? Like, how tall are you standing? Like, who's around you? Like, what's the like the light like? Like, like I'm surrounded right now by like my freaking angels. I'm surrounded by like my fate right now. Like, and I'm all good with it. So
I mean, crazy. Sorry.
What's that?
I'm looking at like some of my favorite people in the world right now. Like that's amazing to me. Just being surrounded by them.
Yeah, and it's also like pulling from like what everyone else is going through. Like you can just feel it. Like it's happening everywhere. This is the first time in our human history that this is happening. So if you are lucky enough, and it is a blessing, it's happening for a reason, to be going through a breakup and like some crazy ass shit you don't deserve. Like I'm going through that right now. It's so hard, you guys, on so many levels, that it's almost like you just got to be like, you know what? When I really started going down during the quarantine in terms of like crazy shit happening to me left and right, I was like, okay, come on, keep the vibes up. We got to keep the vibes up. We got to keep this energy so lifted right now because it's so bad. It's just so bad that you have to shine as hard as you can if you want to be absorbed by the light. If not, you're just going to be dark with the rest of them down there. Amen. So whatever it takes, if you're a DJ, if you dance, if you sing, whatever, that's why you see all these people right now on TikTok doing crazy shit, because they're trying to keep their vibes up.
Right, guys. The cure of quarantine. TikTok.
Yeah, it's not like the meme, like everyone's a singer, everyone's a dancer now. It's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's who we've always wanted to be. You know,
exactly.
Like me, like yeah, like that. I think this is a good point to say. Like 6 months ago, right? I experienced like the weirdest thing in my life where like I've never encountered that in my entire life. I'm always really good at hitting rock bottom and then finding a silver lining to things, right? The last 6 months, I was so shocked. Like even I couldn't spin my world around. And I'm not like I'm sharing this now because it's something I went through. I'm definitely not going through that now. Like, but when I was going through it, I was like, "Wow, you're fucked, Dane. Like, even you can't spin this around right now." What is one thought do you think that could save someone in that situation where they're just like, "I can't think of anything right now. I can't see the light of the tunnel at all."
Yeah, yeah. I had like a super dark moment. Sunday night. It was so dark, you guys. And like all I could think was like, I'm so fucking bright and my vibes are so fucking high that the darkness is trying to come after me. And it was so scary. And it was like a moment I got like a little too stoned, I guess.
We all do.
I got a little too stoned. And I just said that whole night I fell asleep with this crazy nonstop, I choose love, I choose love, I choose love, I choose love, I choose love. Because it can get so dark. And I was given that experience of insanity and of like, holy fuck. And you have to stay to whatever your truth is. So like if you are Catholic, like stick to Jesus, like whatever that is, and understand you are going through something, but again, it's a wave. It's a wave and it's a test and you're going to pass it and it's going to go through you and that's it. So those moments, like, yeah, you're like, I can't get myself out of this. Like, I can't spin this around this time. That's okay. You will next time. It's not over. Like, it's going to keep going. Like, you know, it's not really the end. So, like, I always talk about mantras and affirmations because it's my prayer. So, like, what's yours? Like, figure that out, you know, and it'll come to you. It's just take a minute. Like, that's it. That's all I tell people all the time. Just take 30 seconds. It's going to feel stupid. Or whatever, pussy, whatever guys say, you know, like whatever, but literally like it'll come in handy when you need it.
I 100% agree. And I think like right now is a time, like the world is slowed down. Right now is a time to pray. And when you said like whatever you believe in, because I've always been a firm believer of that, whatever you believe in. I'm not like a segregist, if that's a word, where like I don't segregate between like religions. It's like, dude, whatever the fuck you believe in that shit. Especially during times like this, especially when the world is slowing down. Like your prayers, like God is hearing you, the universe is hearing you, whatever term you want to use, just do that. And the universe is hearing you. But can I ask you a question? Okay. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask, okay, it's a little difficult for some of our audience because it's easy. How do I word this correctly? Let me think. It's easy for a pretty beautiful woman to speak like this after a breakup. But do you think that has any impact on your resolving your situation, or is that irrelevant? That's a fair question. Am I wrong? Like, Dane?
No.
Okay,
no.
Yeah.
That's a fair question.
She's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's about the lessons. Have you learned your lesson? Because if you haven't, you're gonna get another one. exactly the same thought patterns, same behaviors, same realities. And then it's like, oh, I'm still codependent. Oh, I'm still trying to find a guy. Oh, I'm still trying to like make this guy like me.
Right.
You know, it's like all those things that we
You
do.
left out one
like,
thing that it gets
I do
worse.
it all the time.
It gets
like,
worse. No, it just gets worse the longer you
Yes,
keep
it gets worse. And then, but I'm doing so good spiritually. Like, I do this and that. I've grown. I got over the act. So it's
I've been sober. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, like I lost weight, you know, whatever. But no, it's like,
You know what the fuck, God? Yeah.
no, it's like, have you learned your lesson? Because God's gonna test you again, like until you do.
Yo,
So
that's what Anna means in her song. Life is
Well,
awesome.
okay.
I confess. What I do, I confess. You got nothing. I got tested, and I passed.
yeah,
But my way to the top. That's exactly what she's talking about.
yeah,
Anyway.
that's what it's all about. It's all about that. And the more in tune you are, the more aware of it, the more tests you're gonna get. But you know, the more tests you get, the more likely you're gonna pass. So
I'm
yeah.
so done tested though. Like, can I just like be an A student and that's it? Like, that's it.
I wish, right? Yeah. That wouldn't be fun though.
Not an
More
A student.
Okay, we'll close out with this. We're in like we got 5 more minutes. Let's go with 5 more minutes. Okay, so you already gave us our the audience their advice on relationships, yoga. How did you transition back to acting? And like, is it something you think you can balance both yoga and acting at the same time, being a yogi and an actress at the same time? And what made you come back around? It's like a 360, you know?
Well, first and foremost, I missed it so much. And it wasn't available to me. And so part of the main reason why I came back, and I was supposed to do this in 2019, January. I was supposed to come back to go after my dream and to do what I love. And I postponed it a whole year.
Why?
And because a certain person in my relationship said, no, you can't do that. Look at so-and-so. That's all they do 24/7. How are you going to succeed? I said, it's not about being famous. It's about doing what you love and connecting with people that love the same thing. And it was so funny because 2019, January, I got so many messages from the universe. I was in LA. I finally decided what I wanted to do with my life. And was to go back to acting. And, you know, my dream is to be like a host or what you're doing, you know. And I got so many signs that I got scared. And I thought, oh, no, this actually maybe isn't good. And so, boom, another year goes by. And here I am. And things have kind of halted. But at the same time, I'm more creative than I've been ever. So I feel like I've made it. Like, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And it's just going to take me to great places. But just know that no matter how many years go by, like if it's still inside of you, like you gotta step up at some point.
I agree.
Yeah.
Great. No, that's amazing.
Sometimes it takes a quarantine, but
I think it does take a quarantine sometimes because, like, yo, I'm thriving in this quarantine. Now I have my ups and downs, but, like, yo, I'm not the type of mentally personality that would, like, thrive during quarantine, but I figured out a way to thrive during quarantine.
yeah.
It's just because, like, I figured out through my trials and tribulations, through the wave, as we said 3 times during the show, and it should be a theme of the show. It was like, yeah, it is a wave, and I figured out through my trials and tribulations, I've been able to figure out how to thrive during my most negative circumstances. So yeah,
that's when like the most beautiful stuff comes out, you know, is during those moments of darkness. And like we're so lucky to like have those moments, and like the darker you get, the brighter you're gonna get. So it's like just embrace it all, whatever. Like it just is what it is. We don't have control over it always, you know. Hey bro, so like what's your day like? Do you like, are you scared to go out, or do you stay in?
Recently, I've been scared to go out, so I do stay in. I have my doggy with me, so I walk him every day, and I walk him like twice a day, and he's like spoiled. Today I only walked him once. He's like asking me for another walk. He's 12 years old. This scrap dog legend. He's like the LeBron James of dogs. He never ages. So my point is, yeah, like some days are worse than others. Some days, like I really do like enjoy doing these interviews because I get to speak to somebody and connect. But some days are worse than others. You know, there's a lot of stress just in general. It just varies. But my days are trying to be honestly, I'm going to keep 100 with you and to my public. And I mentioned this before. I've not worked out at all. But it's not a negative thing because I've worked out for fucking 15 years of my whole life. Like, so it feels good to just chill for a bit. Like, I'm not even stressing about it. I know when I'm ready to go and summer comes back, I'll go back around and I'll come back and work out. But that's just how my day. Every day has been like, you worry about working out, like get your exercise in, but it feels good that there's an excuse right now. But I'm not justifying people being lazy.
Right.
Message to my audience, but that's just the way I'm living. That's just the way I'm living. I know I can lose it when I want to. So it's like, yeah, so every day is a different day. I try to make it as entertaining, and I'm an introvert on occasion, and I'm also an extrovert on occasion. But my introvert side is like really enjoying this time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to go back to normal like times?
It's going to be crazy. Like it's going to roll out in phases. You know, it's going to be smaller reservations for restaurants, reconfiguring like the classrooms. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be different, but I find it this spectacle so interesting. I cannot tell you.
It is. It's so crazy. Like today I bought an adapter for my laptop, and you go to Best Buy. This was the first time I actually realized that, this shit's kind of weird. I wouldn't say weird. It's not.
It's fucking weird.
I guess weird, yeah, in that sense, like, I'm like, oh, dude, I just need an adapter. Why do I need to stand out here, show you on my phone? And when he took my phone, I was like, for some reason, I got, like, really paranoid. I'm like, where is it? And then he was like, all right, cool, wait here 10 minutes. So I was like, I just waited in my car for 10 minutes until they brought it back to me. Like,
this is not a normal state. This is not our humanly state. This is definitely something that's trying to change our norms, and to see more than two people together and freak out and feel scared by it and feel angry about it is not part of coronavirus. It's not, it's science. It's biology 101, this whole thing with the masks and the gloves, and people don't even know how to use it. They're recycling masks, they're recycling gloves. It's just, there's more to this than just coronavirus. And I just hope people are able to feel those moments and not just think, I'm just doing what they're telling me to do. This is the right thing to do. It's like, really, is that really how you feel about this right now? Because I like today I noticed the signs on the freeway, the digital signs, they change all the time. At first it was wash your hands. Then it was don't go into gatherings. Then it was, this last one was horrible. It was, don't speed, keep our essential workers safe, or something like that. And that one pissed me off, because I was told by a friend that's what a lot of the verbiage is going to be from now on, is like essential versus non-essential. And who's to say, right? So I was like, well, I'm an essential worker and I'm speeding. I'm an essential worker, and that guy over there who's gonna go drop off groceries for his mom, who's not, is just as important as I am. So it's like a lot of the verbiage, a lot of the circus that's going on, a lot of the you guys, it's on, the press conference, it's on, you guys, pay attention. Oh my god, all of that. I'm like, no, this is some Matrix shit,
I just want to say something with these masks.
You did not bless that out right now.
No, masks are important, right? But like, honestly, I started getting anxiety, and I was like, holy shit, because I can't fucking breathe. Take the mask off so you can breathe the actual prana, and you're not like freaked out.
It's the symbolism behind all of it.
I'm not freaking out anymore, because I'm at Best Buy, right? I'm at Best Buy, like, I don't know why I'm being so anxious. I'm anxious, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, because you have a fucking mask on, dude. You can't breathe.
Yeah, and it's it's in human history. Why do warriors wear masks? Because it inhibits certain behaviors that wouldn't be done otherwise. When you wear a mask, you're hiding behind something else, and it inhibits either fear. You think you're doing a diligent service to humanity, or it turns you into something that you're not. So it's funny because, I mentioned this on my Instagram as well. I work with medical directors that are directly involved with the Orange County.
What's your at for your Instagram? Sorry.
Oh yeah, at Lesly Damai, Lesly Damai, Damai. And I have weekly meetings, and we discuss the rates, we discuss the statistics, we discuss everything. I have friends in the ER in Los Angeles telling me all the time, and it's why is it that the doctors, why is it that the nurses that are on the front line, why are they the ones all in meetings sitting together in tables with no masks on?
Damn.
Why is it them telling their children go out and play? So, there's two sides to this. There are multiple sides to the story, but I'm seeing both. I'm seeing it from people that are in a frantic state of mind that think that by sanitizing everything 24/7, they're going to stay healthy. But in reality, you're actually decreasing your immunity because we need to be exposed to those types of bacteria for our
one more time for our audience, because some of them are just, there's not, they just have to learn some things. What was the word?
Yeah, I'm a nurse, so I somewhat understand this, but I'm going by what I'm seeing with my eyes.
So
I go outside, I see
Is that
people
what the
healthy.
word you use? Nitty?
Huh?
Community.
Oh, community. Okay, my shit might have cut out. Okay, my bad. All right, continue. Sorry. I just didn't catch the full word. Okay.
The
All right.
nitty-gritty.
Yeah. Continue. You're on the
No,
word.
so it's not black and white. It's not. I understand why the masses are resorting to their television screens for their reality check. I mean, I get that side, and I am patient with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's that whole survival. What
All
kind
right,
of
Hey, look, we got 30 seconds left. You down to go 10 minutes longer? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to put an ad right here, and then we're going to be right back, okay? Ro Rockwell Podcast. We love you guys for tuning in. Peace.
Hey.
Ro Rockwell Podcast. Segment 3. We're back up in here. We got Lesly Damai. She's a yogi instructor, and she's going to continue just giving us her knowledge and her experiences through this whole thing. Dan, you want to start off?
Yeah, let's so I think what you were talking about before, you were talking about it seems like just like how people overcome feelings of failure, right? Like for example, I didn't realize that was a feeling that you had to overcome and not think about, because when I had to leave Berkeley for the first time due to a substance abuse problem, I considered that like the worst failure of my life, and I did not get out of that loop for like 5 years. I didn't realize, I was like, why do you still think this is a failure, dude? Like, what's going on with you? So from someone who just like went through something very crazy and life-changing, like how did you immediately turn that from not a failure into something empowering?
Because I lived so long in this superficial state, number one, of people pleasing, and doing what I thought society. Basically, I was making up for some shitty times and for some bad karma. And the only way I knew how to do that was by being someone for everyone. Like it wasn't a life where I was able to live authentically. It was more so proving that I wasn't who that old Lesly was. Same thing with you, with not completing your college dream, that your family, that it must have crushed them, like, substance abuse, that's so life altering. It's a very selfish based way of living your life. And so I wanted to make up for it in every way possible, and I had a crazy life when I was in my early 20s. It was absolutely insane. And I was in a crazy abusive relationship, and those words penetrated me for years, being called a slut, being called just a hoe, all of that stuff. It's like, oh my God, I must do everything in my power never to arouse suspicion to being called that again. Wow. And you lose yourself trying to make up for those traumas.
Can I ask you something just while we're in this realm for right now? Like in the yoga world, because like there was a documentary that came out on Netflix with Yogananda, right? I think he was like did you watch that documentary?
I read his book. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't watch the documentary.
Bikram yoga?
It's gonna look bad about India, but like, have you dealt with situations like that? Supposedly, like a lot of these yoga like gurus or whatever, they kind of take advantage. And you don't have to answer this as well. I'm just kind of asking, like, are these guys kind of creeps sometimes? You know what I'm saying?
I dealt with this situation, and it was Whew, it was heavy. It was very much so reuniting with an old yoga teacher, and all of a sudden it's literally him telling me, Lesly, I'm becoming enlightened, Lesly. Lesly, I almost have no thoughts.
Shut up.
Lesly, I meditate on the beach every morning for 3 hours. And I'm like, bitch, please. Like, you're smoking a cigarette and like, no, but you know, it's just like, I could just see through it. And I'm thinking in my head, like, yeah, I don't buy it, but I'm going to pretend like I do because I'm insecure and you're the teacher. And I don't want to make you feel bad because I'm a people pleaser. So I'm just going to sit here and listen and nod. And it soon became this ripple effect that played out throughout this course I was taking. And it was, he was being verbally abusive to students, threatening students, sexual assault, drinking with students after class. And so, you know, I thought, wow, this man who I so looked up to is not who I thought he was. And what do I do? You know, and so, yeah, I've definitely come across that firsthand, and it was intense. Because it's a lot of, you know, as a female, and you have this authority figure, and, you know, how do you live your truth? And I acted like a scared kid, and that's okay. Like, it is what it is, you know. It's his journey. It really isn't mine. But yeah, be careful.
You know how to do it. Like, you know how to heal from it. He's the one who did the harm. He's the one who did it. He's not gonna learn it. Like, so you're so right about what you just said. I hope it's so poignant. Like you said, it's his journey, not mine, because you learn how to heal with it, and I respect you for that. It's also saddening, and it's also a bad look. Was he Indian? Was it? It was Indian?
No comment. I
okay,
failed
cool.
to
We don't want to know.
No, it's just men.
Sorry.
It's just a man. It's just a human. Yeah.
Okay. Either way, if you're a man in general, just shame on you in general. Like, I'm
gay or straight, by the way.
You tell him.
Gay or straight, whatever. It doesn't.
You're a man.
Yeah.
That shit, dude.
And I salute you for like speaking to us about that and opening up about that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Dane.
Yeah. No, that's so like, what was the next step towards that? You know, because I think, dude, we're sort of like soul sisters. I've gone through that so many times in my life where, like, literally this happened to me like 3 months ago. The words that I was saying, I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me, Dane? Like, do you really believe what you're saying right now? You know, like, when you wake up from that, where did you go from there?
It's a new reality. It really is. It takes a lot of pain. It takes a lot of like unmasking, shedding, trials, hating, like backstabbing, like just like it takes a lot of ugly to get somewhere good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like, we have to live with ourselves. So it doesn't, everything that's around us, it doesn't really matter. It's just a circumstance. And, you know, like, my biggest fear was like, how do I move on with my life, knowing that everything I cared about the most and like lived for was no longer going to matter. You know, that's like a breakup, right? It's like the one person I cared about the most in 6 months is just going to be a memory, and all those pictures and all those experiences, like, what happens to all of that beautiful stuff that was there?
Right.
And that was my fear, you know, initially. And life happens.
Right.
That's it. Like, that's all. Like, there's no formula. You just, and some people do get stuck, you know, and I know people firsthand that are so stuck in a hole, and just do the work every single day, little by little, just accept it all, whatever. It just is what it is, you know?
For those people who are stuck in a hole, okay, you do yoga every single day, I assume, right? And some people, when they're depressed, like, they know what they need to do. They know exactly what they need to physically do. They just cannot get themselves to do it. So what kind of advice would you give to those people who just like, no, okay, yoga is going to make me feel happy, but they're not able to just do it because they're so depressed? Like, what advice would you give them?
Figure out what you're surrounding yourself with. Even if it's just because you're in quarantine in your bed, what are you watching on your social media? Who are you following? What energy are you giving into? What resistance are you holding onto? What are you resisting? Why are you resisting doing something good for you so much that all your energy is there instead of a workout? Why are you resisting so much into whatever, you know? So it's like, all it takes, even me, sometimes it's just like literally 4 minutes on the yoga mat. I'm just going to move my body. I'm just going to like do child's pose. Like that tiny little thing, like you just need to understand it doesn't take moving a mountain. It's just a tiny grain of sand that you pick up and put on that pile. That's it. It's so small. It's 1 minute. It's 30 seconds. It's 10 affirmations in your head over and over for the day. It's right, you know, whatever it is for you, you know, drawing for just 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, like do whatever's calling to you for even just 30 seconds or a minute. And I promise you it's going to lead to something else. That's it.
Is there like a go-to yoga pose that you do? Because like when I do Humble Warrior, I've never like felt that in my life. Like, man, I'm like a warrior for you, higher power, but I'm also your warrior. But I've never felt unless I was in that position. You know, like unless I was in that position, I never understood what it was like to fight for like God, quote unquote. Unless you're a humble warrior. So like for you, have you found that any kind of position that just gets you into that being state?
Yeah. So I do Malasana with a bind. I can show you guys.
So,
this is like, I do this throughout my day everywhere.
Yeah, we should all do like a yoga competition.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna roll on my mat. Oh God.
Teach us for the people at home to do. Why don't you want to teach us so we like follow along?
Yeah,
You
totally.
can follow along with her.
I'll try to follow along. Should I get my yoga mat out?
Yeah, bring it out. Let me get mine. Hold on. It's dark out here. Let me turn the light on. Yeah.
You guys are getting exclusive out here, Ro Rockwell land.
Well, look. What she's showing right now is the importance of like
I'm just doing a public service announcement. I know a lot of y'all in Ro Rockwell land, you musicians, you sipping lean, you drinking that codeine, but this is a faster way to that feeling. This is the fastest feeling that feeling. And I promote weed, but yoga and weed is the key to life.
Oh, that's so
I hear that's a great combination.
I mean, so I've heard.
Yeah. I'm the one saying that. She didn't say that. I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Here, let's just put this straight out there.
Dane, where's your yoga mat? We're here to see you.
It's here. I just want to put this thing out there. Like a lot of people think that just because you're doing like bad things, you can't get into touch with God or the spiritual world. That's bullshit. You can call.
It's so funny. I traveled to the Middle East, and so like I've been to like a lot of like places of worship, you know, and it's they always, you know, lean down. It's almost like a child's pose, and I relate to that. I love it so much. So this is the pose that I do. It's not easy for a lot of people, but it just feels so freaking good to me. And I do it like in my office, like I'll do it all the time. So
Thank you for being generous with us right now and showing us this.
Can you guys see me, or is there a shadow?
There's no shadow.
Turn like one light on. There is a shadow.
There is?
Yeah. What do you mean like there is a shadow? But it's okay.
Hold on. Let me just. I'm in the middle of moving, you guys. I have to move during the
Leslie?
What's up?
Are you moving out of Huntington Beach?
No, I'm gonna stay here.
Word. OC gang.
Probably. Well, I don't want to give away my. Probably like just like right where I'm at now, like right in the middle, like of everything.
Word. That's what's up.
Just like I just want to walk to the beach. That's just. I go to the beach all the time. Like it's just been my savior during all of this. Okay, so
you gotta follow along with
on your hands and knees.
You guys not see me with my mat?
No, I don't. Take the background off.
I can see it.
But we want to see you learn it from her. Yeah.
I'm going to learn it. I won't promise that I'll get it, but hey.
Okay, it's all good.
Always love yoga.
We'll transition into it so that you know different ways of kind of getting your way into it.
Bro, are you sure you don't want to join?
I can't, bro.
Oh.
Okay.
Look at Dane, you're so cute. Okay, so we'll start on our hands and knees. Okay. Let's just do some cat-cows really quickly. So anytime you move in yoga, there's an intentional inhale or exhale. So hands are stacked directly above the elbows, directly above the shoulders. tuck your belly in a little bit towards the spine. And when you breathe in, you're going to lift the chin and lift the tailbone, drop the belly, big breath in. And then exhale, chest, chin to chest, tuck the tailbone, press your hands down into the mat. Inhale, come back up. Chest comes forward, shoulder blades are behind you, collarbones broad. And just do that a couple of times by yourself. Keep your eyes closed. And just notice your spine. I get little cracks here and there. It feels so good. Okay, so we're gonna make our way into just a regular malasana. Go ahead and come onto your toes. And then you wanna get kind of pigeon-footed. So your toes will come out and then your heels will come in towards the middle of the mat.
Okay, can you see me?
What's that?
All right, cool.
Okay, so this can be really intense for a lot of people. If you're not able to get your heels down, that's totally fine. If you are, go ahead and bring your elbows to the inside of the inner thighs, hands together, and then towards the middle of your chest. So you're pressing the hips open even more, and you're keeping your chest open and your spine long. Now just picture the crown of your head lifting up super nice and tall towards the sky. And then your root chakra is grounding down and your feet are rooted towards the center of the earth. And take a deep breath in and let it out. So if you're comfortable here, great. If you want to come into the next variation, which is a bind, you're going to bring one arm. So let's get our right arm and bring it behind your leg. So just below the knee, and then grab hold either to your wrist or your hand, and then turn your neck and look towards your shoulder. So this is what I do every day, like 4 times a day. Wow. It keeps my chest open, my hips open. So when you're able to have your hips open, you're just able to receive more love. Your heart's more open. You're able to give and receive more love. And let's do the other side. And my shoulder cracks each time, which is so good because I don't have the best shoulder mobility.
I'm surprised Dane is even able to do this. To be
I know,
Dane. Good for you, Dane.
You guys see me on here?
Doesn't that feel so good, Dane?
No, I would suggest to people following along, like, get rid of the.
Yeah, do it.
Get rid of the student inside. Don't try to be perfect, because even as I'm doing this, I'm like, be the perfect student. I'm like, dude, yoga's not about being a student.
100%.
It's definitely something to work towards, but for me, it triggers all the right spots.
That was so good, Leslie. Thank you so much.
Aw, you're welcome.
Yeah,
I feel so good already.
Aw. That's all. And even just doing that, that's it.
No, we appreciate that because some of these people do not want to do. You can buy them a yoga class and they won't even go to it. Not even my brother.
Talk about your brother.
Yeah. Everybody, they just feel insecure. It's like people who don't work out in a gym. They hate going to a gym because they feel like insecure. So it's a way to like not feel secure. And like I think those are Are you doing those things like live like every day for your students, or have you stopped that?
No, I haven't been teaching, and I feel okay with it because I've been practicing finally for myself. It hasn't been for a class. It hasn't been trying to be in front of a camera to be perfect. It's just been doing exactly what I want to do. So I'm still enjoying that, but I do miss teaching. So I'm probably going to be offering some things pretty soon. I'm doing more of just how to stay positive during the quarantine, how to do daily rituals in your life that are super accessible, super fast, easy to keep your vibes lifted. Like that's what I'm about right now. So that's kind of what you can expect from me. And it's always fun. It's always lighthearted. I don't take myself seriously. It's just accessible to everyone. Follow me on Lesly Damai, LESLY DAMAI on Instagram for your daily tips and tricks on how to stay positive, lifted, and just like fucking feel good during the quarantine and be productive, even if it's just a minute of your day.
And I'm so glad we had you on the show because you're teaching our guests to be productive and be health conscious. Or like, quickly, we got like 5 more minutes. So I know I've been saying this for like the past 45 minutes, but we got 5 minutes. All right, so let's go. Like, what is your diet like? How are you maintaining your, you know, like are you eating a lot of vegetables? You're juicing, things like that?
And you don't have to be girl with the same thing.
No, if you go to my Instagram and you go to my highlights, I have some stuff saved there. Basically, what I do every single day, they're rituals, I call them. And I like to call them witch-a-wools because I brew teas and I have super like economically friendly ways to stay healthy. And right now it's all about boosting your immunity in a practical, easy way, because we can't control if we get a virus or not always, even if you wear a glove and mask. So what you can do is be prepared. And again, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy a full vegan diet, but I'm going to show you different types of ways you can keep healthy and keep your immunity up and keep your vibes high. So
thank you for that. And put it out to you. My goal is to end up being vegan because, dude, I love animals so much, and sometimes I'm so ashamed of myself that I have to eat these chicken McNuggets or like, you know, little bullshit I eat.
Which probably isn't even me.
I'm a huge animal. Like when I watched Tiger King, my heart broke. But like I'm like feeling like I'm a hypocrite because I love animals so much, but I'm eating them. So my goal is not an overnight path. You know, I have to work myself towards that. But yeah.
Right. That's how it starts, with that voice in your head where every time you eat it, you feel guilty. That's how like I stopped eating. And like at this point in my life, like I was vegetarian, vegan for, I don't know, like 3.5 years. Then I was pescatarian, you know, and so it kind of evolves, but it's about finally listening to that voice that's like, oh my God, you shouldn't do that. This is wrong. This is disgusting meat. You know, it's like breaking a bad habit. It's like smoking cigarettes, but it doesn't have to be drastic. Just incorporating something positive into your life, like turmeric, ginger, teas, and like, you know, doing that is a stepping stone to something else that can happen. So that's what I offer. I don't offer like 100% vegan diet. I'm just like, hey, why don't you try sipping on this?
Yeah, vegan is the way to go though. I already know that. Like, so like I get like your baby, that's what I need, baby steps. So like, you know, so thank you for that.
Right. And that's all you need to. Like sometimes when I eat meat these days, I can't help but think about like what they went through just for that meat processed to me, and then all of a sudden like that energy in my stomach, and I'm like, oh, like, I I just swallowed someone who like was anxious before he died.
It makes me so sad.
No, I'm not saying I don't need to make people feel sad, but I think it's just
I know. We gotta go there.
Like think about what you're consuming before, like the energy that was put into that before. Like even these iPhones, you know, like this was made by a kid in like China. Just to,
and Africa, the minerals were excavated from Africa too.
Right.
And it goes to everything. Coffee.
Right.
Life's fucked up.
Right. So how do we do? We just forget.
Keep your vibes high, work on yourself, and just take baby steps into being like fucking a radiating beam of light to other people all the time.
All right, so light up a mountain and become enlightened in one day.
No, sorry.
So last question. The people want to know, how do you maintain your beauty and like your physical appearance during quarantine? Some of us, it's hard to, you know, do you look like you just came out the salon. Like how do you
I know, I haven't seen you in 5 years and you look exactly as beautiful as 5 years ago.
Yeah, so how you do that?
I'm keeping my vibes high. I don't want to look in the mirror and scare myself. Like I'm looking good for me. You know, I want to be camera ready at all times.
100%.
Yo, you are listening to herself.
Yeah.
No, honestly, like, I don't know. I do it every day. I wake up every day. I do my makeup. I get ready. I put on my favorite outfit. Like, that's what I've done every single day in the quarantine. That's me. It's completely natural. Like, it's unnaturally natural.
Yeah, you gotta feel it to live it. Like, so everybody out there is thinking just because you're in the quarantine, you don't gotta take a shower. You got you know, do your whatever, do whatever. Like, feel good like how you would, because you're gonna live whatever you fucking live.
Yeah.
It's gonna be put out in the universe. So just feel it and live it. And anyways, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Cause I I went a couple days without shower. I was like, dude, this is not how I want to live. I went 2 days.
Healthy. Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I can't see anybody. Yeah, like I can take a shower. So Yeah.
Right. No, when was the last time you took a shower, bro?
Dude, I took a shower today, bro. I take a shower every single day now. If not twice.
Except that one time.
Oh, okay. You know what's crazy is like a lot of people think that that like men in general do not take care of themselves, but Ro is one of the people that I know for a fact. He's the cleanest person. One of the
But yeah, that's another story. I'm like too metro. What do they call it? Metrosexual. Like I do a lot of grooming, but it's not for y'all. It's for me. You know,
right.
Yeah. Kanye West said one time. He said, "He's like, I got liposuction for y'all, not for me. For y'all. Mine's the opposite. Like, it's not for y'all. It's for me. So I do grooming for me. But anyways, that's all y'all. Yeah, everybody gotta keep themselves clean. You gotta feel a certain way, you know.
And everybody appreciates it. It's much easier to stare at someone well groomed than like,
danger zone.
Thank you. But before we leave, Leslie, what favorite Lana song at the moment right now?
Oh my God!
What is on your favorite? Lana, by the way.
Okay, I'm gonna sing it to you.
Yeah, sing it.
Okay, she's singing this.
Sadness out of context. At the moment of a partner come.
No!
Ain't no candle in the wind. I'm the light I'm the bolt, the lightning, the thunder. Kind of girl that's gonna make you wonder who you are and where you've been and who I am is with you on these beaches. You're Venice girl. You're diehard. You're something. Oh yes, I've been blasting her. My How did you remember? I love you.
You're in the dark. What is it? How does the chorus go for American Complex?
Oh God.
Lose your way, I'll take your
I'll be.
Yeah, I'm so lost right now. I'm so sorry, Lana. I love this
Lana,
song.
I love you.
Yeah, you lose your way, I'll take your hand. Right?
Just wait. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh God.
Oh my God, I'm so upset.
Don't look too far. That's right. I'm your man.
I'm your man. Fucking Lana Del Rey says I'm your man. Like
I know. And since then I've been owning my masculine energy, as in like be any sort of boss. Like it's all about me right now, and it should be all about you.
Like everyone thinks "Fuck My Way to the Top" is about her selling herself out. No, like she owns it. Lana owns her masculine energy, and you're doing that right now.
That's what I'm trying to get into right now too. Exactly. Yep.
Hey, that's a perfect way to end it right now. Thank you so much for being on our show. Like, you have no idea how much knowledge you guys gave us. You gave us, Leslie. Like, really, we really do appreciate it. Dane, do you have anything left to like add on to it?
No, I just want to say that the minute I met Leslie, I don't know what we were doing in class. But we were
fire, by the way. They're fire, Leslie. I'm telling you, they are fire.
Well, what's fire? I can't see what's going on.
Oh
yeah, no. Yeah, no, this is how Leslie, Tom made us walk in the grass, and he just made us just walk in general.
Who is this
and
guy,
Leslie
man?
We gotta put his handle there.
We'll do it.
I know, Tom, so
if you guys are speaking the world of him, we got to do it. We'll do it.
Tom, she made us do this exercise where you're just walking from one place to the other. He just wanted to see how we walked, I guess. And me and Leslie, for some reason, we didn't even know each other. We looked at each other and we're like, dude, let's just walk around like we're America's Next Top Model. And me and her, we're just like owning that runway. Remember that, Leslie?
Yes. Dude, if you go on my Instagram right now, it's literally me in the office on an entire 6th floor with nobody going like this.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Hey, shout out to
And I'm like, okay, I gotta make the most of this space, right?
She's like,
hey, like.
For the Instagram. What's the ad on the Instagram so they can all know?
Lesly Damai, LeSlydamai.
Get that live.
And I would love to hear from you guys. Like, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, any sort of knowledge you want to share with me, oh my God, just hit me up on the DMs. I answer all my DMs and comments. So.
Hell yeah. And yeah, I really do appreciate you being on the show. I got a lot of knowledge, a lot about spirituality, how to come back, how to make decisions, and that's like all I gotta say. Anybody have any last words for us?
How to be a boss. That's just what she told us right now.
How to be a boss, how to be a female boss, but it didn't even matter if you're a female boss or female boss. And how to deal with the fucking bullshit that goes on into this fucking game. And sorry for the cursing.
Yeah.
Your brand, Leslie. Sorry.
Oh.
Yo,
Hey.
no. This is Leslie.
All right, cool.
Dane knows me. Dane.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, this is the quote of a queen, right? A true queen builds a castle with the same rocks thrown at her.
Yes. Thank you. I love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If you only knew. Yes, I love that.
I know. You are way powerful.
All right,
Love you
guys.
so much.
I love you guys. Both of you guys. Will you come back on our show, please? Like in like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Or like 2 weeks?
Next time, I want to be there, like in person with you, though.
Studio, yes. Let's do that. Let's make that happen. Let's make it happen. Make some noise for Lesly Damai. That's your Yogi name. Make some noise, everybody.
Love you guys.